Well, welcome to 5465 podcast. Today we are interviewing former Maryland guard Reese Mona. Welcome to the podcast. And I think everybody would like to learn more about you. You're a small town kid. Obviously, you love the game basketball, and you're the only person I've ever really talked to that's had a successful walk-on story at a major D1 school. And you're a Maryland graduate. Now you're a coach, and I'm super excited to talk to you and get to learn more about you and your perspective on being an athlete.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So starting out, yeah. I was gonna just say, it was an awesome time in Maryland. I was thankful for the experience, thankful for Coach Turgeon really mentioned giving me that initial walk-on spot, and then I was lucky enough to get 2 years on scholarship. So thankful for that, and it was an incredible experience. So ready for any questions you got?
Awesome. So I'll throw some quotes at you I'd like to read that people have said about you and a few facts. So somebody said farm tough and unmatched work ethic. What does that mean to you when somebody says that?
Yeah, and it's kind of like what you mentioned. I take pride in. I grew up on a family farm in La Plata, Maryland. It's a 32-acre farm. My grandmother still lives on the farm. My parents still live on the farm. And kind of just growing up, had to do a lot of chores, work around the farm, fixing the fences, cutting wood. So just kind of from those experiences, I gained toughness and just doing simple farm chores and waking up early, doing stuff like that. And I think it carried over to my game of basketball and being kind of type of player that doesn't mind jumping on the floor, scraping up the knees, scraping up the elbows, diving for loose balls, taking charges. I think that's kind of that farm toughness that I'm willing to sacrifice my body and do other things that some players aren't willing to sacrifice as much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the farm, like even watching you play, that you take charges, you're always on the floor diving for loose balls, diving out of bounds. So it's a toughness mentality. And you're also a 2020 Big Ten Distinguished Scholar, three-time academic All Big Ten, 2019 to 20 National Strength and Conditioning All American. And I'm guessing that's just the highlights, but let's get into what you're really all about. So to start, when did you start playing basketball?
Man, I would say as early as you could have played basketball. I would say I was probably 5 years old. As early as I could get the ball up to the rim, I was playing basketball. I always loved basketball. I also grew up playing other sports, a little bit of baseball, lacrosse. Didn't love those. I loved football. So mostly a lot of basketball and football that I really enjoyed when I was young.
Awesome. What position you play in football?
When I was young and starting out, running back. I was always running back, and then I kind of moved a little bit. The last couple of years I played, still running back, but sometimes wide receiver and cornerback.
Awesome. What made you decide to choose basketball over football?
Yeah, great question. It was my last year going into high school when I was a freshman. It was really I went to St. John's College High School. Anthony Cowan went there with me as well, and it was such a good program that if you were going to play football and miss those off-season basketball workouts, that you really weren't going to get the playing time that you probably wanted. And I started getting a little skinnier compared to those big football players. So kind of went the basketball route, and I was happy with my choices. I kind of was a little skinnier, but choosing the basketball route, I enjoyed it more, a faster game, and I just enjoy basketball more than football.
Yeah, and that's good reasoning, I'd say. But when did you decide that you wanted to go D1 for basketball and wanted to walk on to Maryland?
Yes, basketball. I grew up a big Maryland fan, and I just knew I always wanted to play Division One. And then in high school, I wasn't recruited that heavily. So some smaller schools, I received an offer from Wagner College in Staten Island. And then, then they weren't recruiting as hard as I liked after they gave me a scholarship. So I wanted to go to a big school. And when I found out it was an option to walk on at Maryland, I absolutely took it. And how that worked is I actually Mark Turgeon, since he recruited Anthony and a lot of players I played AAU with, that he reached out and then I reached out to him and told him if there's an opportunity or spot on the team as a walk-on, as a preferred walk-on, I would love to that opportunity. And he was excited that I reached out and gave me the spot. And that entailed, he said, coming in, it doesn't mean you'll have a jersey. It just means you will be on the team. You'll be able to practice with the team, maybe not travel, but you'll be part of the team. And I took that and was very excited. And fortunately, it worked out well. And actually ended up getting jersey, ended up traveling and actually playing a bit my senior year. So it was an awesome choice, and I'm so glad it worked out the way it did.
That's awesome. And I saw you drill that three against Purdue on Christmas Day. What was that feeling like?
Oh man, that was pretty awesome because luck. I mean, I would have loved to have been, of course, Christmas Day, with your family back home. But if there's anyone else I would have wanted to spend it with, it was the guys on the team. So they're brothers, they're family to me as well. But to make that shot on Christmas Day was really special. Actually, the shot was made on Purdue's big man, Zach Edey. He was checking me off in the paint, and I was open and pulled it. So it was a special play. My parents were actually watching it with my whole family and family friends Christmas morning, Christmas Day. So it was a special moment for them too. And all the texts after were pretty cool. So I was very supportive. They were very supportive of me, and that three was very, very special to me. It was a fun day for sure. Fortunately, we lost that game. I thought we had them, but it was a great game, and that shot was pretty fun for me to shoot.
Yeah, and on Edie too. That's crazy. 7 foot, 7'4".
I know he's been a monster this year, so it's pretty cool that my three that year was on Big Zach Edey.
Oh yeah, you might win Player of the Year too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he deserves it.
What was your high school basketball career like for St. John's?
Yeah, great question. Came in as a freshman, played JV. There is a freshman JV and varsity team. I played JV. Got moved up at the end of the year. Not really played, but got to move up to experience playoffs. Sophomore year played a little bit. Then junior year, playing time was kind of dependent on the team, but I would say junior year, averaged maybe 6 to 7 points. Started in against Gonzaga and DeMatha. So in the championship, I started. I shot a lot in college. I didn't shoot as much, but high school, definitely a 3-point shooter. My senior year, I shot 40%, 42% from three. So I was really shooting it well in high school. Did all the little things, took charges, but my experience was great. I love St. John's. My coach now is actually the coach at IMG Academy in Florida,
Oh
Sean
wow,
McAloon. He's a great coach. Really knew his stuff, knew his X's and O's. Great guy. And so that was my coach. I played with great guys like Anthony Cowan, so also a Maryland stud. Jeff Doughton, who's currently in the NBA. DeJuan Clayton, who's at California. Then some younger guys, Casey Morcell, who's at NC State. Ish Leggett, who's just scored, I think, 30 points the other day for Rhode Island. So a lot of great basketball players. It was a pleasure to play with all of them. And it was really fun and a great experience.
that's awesome. And did you guys end up making a run in the tournament?
Yeah, so for high school, we won the WCAC championship in 2016, and that was the first time in 16 years that St. John's did that. We beat the Matha. Everyone knows the Matha in the championship. They had Markel Fultz on their team, so incredible
Wow,
game, incredible win. They were a stacked team. Point guard went to Delaware. Markel went to Washington and was the first pick in the draft. Really good big man, Josh Carlton, who went to UConn. DJ Harvey, a great basketball player. So they were loaded. We were loaded. It was such a fun game, and to come out on top was really special. It was an awesome day for all of us.
that's awesome. And having that, everybody says I've interviewed Austin Rotroff from Duquesne. He made a state run with my hometown, and he said that like representing the town was the big thing too. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's really cool. Really cool.
To segue into your college career, what's the process to become a walk-on become a walk-on D1 player, let alone succeed, and what does it feel like?
Yeah, so everyone's process is different with being a walk-on. I can tell you that. Some people's is they know the coach well because maybe connected through that. Maybe their dad's an assistant coach. Mine was, as I mentioned, through Mark Turgeon. Coach Turgeon knew me, just because he's recruited a lot of guys who went to St. John's or maybe went to DeMatha or Gonzaga. So he saw me play a little bit, and I reached out to him and Coach Clark, Dustin Clark, who's no longer on the staff but was at the time, and just told him that basically I would love the opportunity to just be a part of the team. Don't care that, like, especially early in my career about playing, just want to go to the University of Maryland and be on your guys' team. And then they brought me on, and that was knowing that I'd be able to practice with the team. I'd be on the team. But I was fortunate enough to travel to every single game, get a jersey, and actually play in a couple games freshman year. And then from there, it's tough part about being a walk-on is you're never expected to play. They never look at you to play. They try to recruit guys over you, which makes sense. They try to get guys on scholarship who are better than you. And those guys, and I think it makes sense, would always have an opportunity over you to prove themselves. So even if I was a senior, a freshman coming in would be looked at to play over me, even though I've been there for 4 years. So that takes a lot, takes a lot of patience, but it's really about being a team guy. Usually the walk-ons are all about the team, really care about just being a part of a winning program and a special program. Because as a walk-on and really as a college basketball player, it's bigger than yourself. So that's definitely something you got to kind of embrace. And it's a grind. College basketball is a grind, but it was an awesome experience. And I'm so happy I did walk on to the University of Maryland.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Terps fan, so that's pretty awesome. And I always I messaged a few Maryland players when I first got Instagram, and you were the only person that responded. And you've always had like a little place in my heart as a Maryland player, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the sport. And I know it's tough. Some guy, all the guys I play with are super nice, but it's just tough sometimes. Maybe they don't check Instagram as much or they miss a couple messages. But I'm glad we connected and I'm doing this with you.
Yeah, and it's been fun so far. But what's that feeling from being a walk on to being awarded a scholarship your senior year, and then also starting on senior night?
Yes, great points. And I would say the day I was given the scholarship, and Coach Turgeon just announcing in front of the team and letting him know it was from all the hard work I put in meant so much. Because you do it, you grind every day with basketball and school and wake up and repeat and 6 o'clock lifts in the morning, study hall till 9 o'clock at night. And for him to award me a scholarship was awesome. I felt proud of myself. It was one of those moments you don't always think about it, you don't always feel proud of yourself. But in that moment, I could really take it all in and be like, wow, this is really special for me to like grow up on the farm, not really have any Division I offers, to then earn a scholarship at the University of Maryland was really special. It's a day I'll remember forever. Remember my parents being so proud, calling them right after. So that moment was awesome. And then what was the second part to that question you asked?
And then you also started on senior night. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, that was fun. Unfortunately, we lost to Penn State that night, but I remember when Coach Turgeon told me I would start and how shocked and excited I was because most coaches usually in college you don't start all the seniors because I mean it's a college basketball game, you need to win. But he said I earned it, and it's not. He said it's not a charity start. You earn this. And I remember we were actually, I think when I got subbed out, winning 11-0. And I remember my parents were in the stands, and it was really special. That moment when I got taken out and we were already up 11-0 was awesome. And he put me in a couple more times that game, and it was all going well. But then, unfortunately, at the end, I wasn't playing at the end, but unfortunately, we gave up the lead and lost. But other than that, it was really special. And to be able to start on University of Maryland, as I mentioned before, having no Division I offers really going into college was really special and cool.
It sounds really special, and my goal has always been to be a D1 basketball player. And
Yeah.
kind of like realizing that I might have to take the walk on route would be it's awesome listening to your story. So
Yep. And word of advice is just you have to be the hardest worker in the gym. And some days it's not going to feel like it pays off. Like sometimes I was the first one in the gym getting shots up, but I still never played and never didn't even feel like coaches noticed you. So you got to take pride in just being the hardest worker, and it might not pay off, but if you give it your all, it's well worth it.
yeah, that's awesome, and I'll definitely listen to that advice. Thank you. And
Of course.
So after you graduated from Maryland, you became a coach. From a coach's perspective, what are your goals as a coach?
Yeah. So for me right now, I work at Morgan Stanley and then I coach kind of like you could say on the side. I do it after work. So for me, it's not a profession. It's really a fun hobby. And for me, it's trying to really change these kids' lives in a way, give them something to look up to be a role model for them, and really just share the game and share the way the game should be played the right way, and just try to help them learn something and give them something to care about. I'm at a local public school, and it really gives them motivation to get good grades, to try to go to college, and to work hard. So those little things is just trying to change a kid's life in any way that I can.
That's awesome. And I've also always wanted to be a coach, so that's cool too. And
It's been a great experience. So if you ever think about it one day, it's a lot though. I like the high school basketball seasons. It's at least not super long, and there's like an off season. I got an offer to coach like travel teams, but that's too much. It's a big time commitment. So I do enjoy those like 3 to 4 months that I'm doing it, and then I do enjoy the break after. But it's a lot of fun. So if you're considering, it's definitely something that I recommend doing at least for a little bit and see how much you like it.
that's awesome. And the 3 to 4 month segment, it's always like I play AU and winter ball. So the mix is it's a lot, but it's fun because you love the game. But uh
No doubt.
I have one last question and I'll let you go. But what form of basketball have you enjoyed the most? Whether it's playing high school ball, college ball at Maryland, coaching, or even playing at a YMCA with a bunch of friends. What's been your most memorable part of basketball and what have you enjoyed the most?
Oh man, I loved every single stage, and I actually mean that. Like you're saying, even playing in the gym with friends is so much fun. I love the game of basketball, wherever it is, whether it's on a street court outside in my backyard, in Xfinity Center. But I would say college because I really high school I made great friends too, but I think in college I made some of my best friends for life. We did everything together. We did late study halls. We were up at 5 in the morning, walking to lifts together. We lived together. We ate together. You do everything together. You feel like you go to war together, whether it's the weight room, classroom, games, or even eating together. Like you break bread together. You do everything together. And Coach Turgeon created such a great culture and recruited such great guys that I made such great friends, and it was an awesome experience. And those 4 years of basketball were so much fun. And shout out Maryland fans; they're incredible fans. When you go to the Xfinity Center and you go to a game there, it's electric, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you said that you love every stage, but college basketball is pretty unbeaten. So,
Yeah.
and
Oh, and I know I didn't mention it, but March Madness is the greatest thing ever, and it was one of the greatest weeks of my life playing in that. So that's another part about college basketball that can't be beat. I think March Madness is the greatest sporting event there is, um, and it is so much fun to be a part of.
did you get in March Madness?
I did my senior year. Yep, I played against UConn, got subbed in right before the half, and played about 4 minutes, and then against Alabama, I played about 3 more minutes. We beat UConn, and then lost to Alabama. And then my sophomore year did not play, but we beat Liberty and then played LSU in a last second buzzer beater. We lost, but we're all fun games.
That's fun. And I want to thank you for being on and taking your time out of your day to being on the podcast. It means a lot. And I think everybody will love your story. And it's been awesome and a pleasure to talk to you.
Of course, I appreciate you reaching out and having me on, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thank you. And I appreciate it.
All right, talk soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5465 Podcast. Please check out the merch in the description below to be able to check out hoodies, crew necks, or t-shirts at the 5465 shop. That's also on my Instagram. And it comes in colors like blue, black, gray, indigo, green, and more. Thank you for listening, and check us out every Sunday or Monday for a new post. Thank you.